From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
High electric bills in January sending sticker shock across central Indiana. Working for you, we're looking into what's behind the extra money coming out of your pocketbook.
I just don't know how you fix what he's done.
A letter by Hamilton Southeastern superintendent has some officials doing damage control now at 4:30, while some parents say the damage is already done.
And downtown businesses have been struggling for months thanks to the pandemic. This morning, why they say their future relies on the hardwood. Good morning. Time now is 4:30. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Megan Shin.
And I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is standing by this morning. Todd, it's Storm Team Alert Day, correct?
Yeah, you know, there's not a lot going on today, but there's enough that it's going to cause some issues, I think, for the morning commute in some areas, then later on this afternoon in other areas, the issue of precipitation. And here's why I went into alert mode for you today compared to yesterday when we were just kind of dealing with the tail end of some snow across the area. That was wrapping up. This is still heading in our direction, and you notice the clouds are in place, and then there's this band of snow as it is right now making its way into southern Indiana. As this lifts to the north, though, it's going to bring some warmer air with it, and that's going to give us southern locations the potential this morning for the commute of a little bit of freezing rain. So that's why I kind of upgraded us into alert mode here this morning. Now you say, how in the world are you going to get freezing rain with temperatures that range from 15 to 22 degrees? Well, warmer air overrides the colder air, and so when the rain falls, it hits the ground and it's below freezing, and then it just freezes. Now, this is not a significant icing situation for us here in southern locations today. I think it's just some mainly bridges and overpasses that are going to be impacted with some slick spots, but just wanted to alert you to that. And then as we get into the afternoon hours, we kind of transition more into some snow showers for the rest of central Indiana, and there will be some minor accumulation as well as we get into the afternoon and even into the evening hours. It doesn't all come at once. It's kind of off and on throughout the day. We'll try to time it out for you using TrueCast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at your commute as you're heading out the door this morning. This is I-65 and I-465, the interchange down there on the south side. You can see the flashing lights there on your screen. Traffic is still moving by at this hour, but you'll want to watch out. We do have a road hazard blocking 2 left lanes as you're traveling southbound on 65, so just keep that in mind this morning. Again, it's not slowing down traffic too much, but give them plenty of space.
Lauren, thank you so much. If you're still in shock over a higher than normal electric bill last month, you're not alone.
How am I going to pay it? I'm a single mom. I work 3 to 4 nights a week at the hospital, and I go to school part-time. So it's like, how am I going to get it? How am I going to pay it?
Several Hoosiers reached out to WRTV about increased electric bills. Jennifer Hooper lives in a 2-bedroom apartment on the south side of Indianapolis. She says her IPL bill is usually around $70 or $80. This month, she says it's $122. Lou Middleton with Duke Energy talked to us about why customers may be getting higher bills no matter the provider.
The single biggest factor is the outdoor weather. And last year, we did not have single-digit temperatures very often, if at all. And this year, we have much colder weather. Another factor this year is that we have people working at home, and so they're using more electricity for cooking and washing. The kids are at home, and so that always drives the power bill up.
We also reached out to IPL. Company officials say the weather and working from home are 2 factors that contribute to higher bills, Lauren.
Well, a letter sent to Hamilton Southeastern faculty members by administrators getting some backlash and now an apology. The letter shares some concerns from parents saying discussing Black Lives Matter in the classroom is a distraction. The note was sent out on Monday by HSE Superintendent Ellen Borf and says that some parents are concerned students are being indoctrinated rather than taught. Dorf says that the movement should be treated as a political issue. The superintendent sent out a letter Tuesday evening apologizing for the first message. He says the Black Lives Matter movement is one of the most significant issues of our time. But one HSC parent and activist says that the damage has been done.
Black and brown students need to be in a safe space throughout the city of Fishers, but in school as well. So it really took us off guard to see that was the response.
So we reached out to school administrators to see if Superintendent Borf was available for an interview. We're told no. A regularly scheduled school board meeting is set for tonight. That will be streamed online.
Lauren, a proposal to build an Islamic development in Hendricks County has been rejected. Commissioners voted 3-0 against the project. It would have been built on the land near Ronald Reagan Parkway and Interstate 74, just outside of Brownsburg. County commissioners say the site was not adequate for such a large development. The Muslim Advocates Organization condemned the decision, calling it an act of bigotry. You can read more about the story by downloading the WRTV News app.
Well, a bill to improve workplace accommodations for pregnant women is moving forward in the State House, but supporters are likely not happy. The legislation approved by Indiana House Committee is a weakened version of the original proposal. House Bill 1309 would not provide accommodations for pregnant women at work, like longer breaks or a temporary transfer to a less hazardous position. Instead, women could request accommodations from their employers, something they can already do without the law. Meanwhile, a Senate bill requiring public school students to complete the FAFSA is moving forward in the House. FAFSA form determines if a student is eligible for federal, state, and college-sponsored financial aid. Under the plan approved on Tuesday, high school seniors would be required to fill out a FAFSA form unless a parent or school administrator signs a waiver. The bill's author says the legislation is required to increase the state's low FAFSA completion rates. The National College Attainment Network says only 60% of Indiana's grads complete the FAFSA in the last year.
Here at 4:36, we turn now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on our state. This morning, state health officials report more than 1,200 new cases of the virus. They also report 67 more people in Indiana have died with COVID-19. So far this month, 211 Hoosiers have died with the coronavirus. Taking a look at the vaccine dashboard, more than 19,000 Hoosiers are given their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. So far, nearly 719,000 people in Indiana have at least the first vaccine shot. 240,000 Hoosiers are fully vaccinated against the virus. Demand for the coronavirus vaccine is creating a new opportunity for scammers. A new report shows Facebook pages advertising a vaccine for sales out of China. China does not have an approved vaccine. Researchers say messenger chats with other scammers stated that they could ship the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines at proper temperatures. The catch was the buyers need to pay for the phony vaccine with a gift card.
It is 4:37. The Big Men's Basketball Championship is officially coming right here to the Circle City. The tournament is being held ahead of the March Madness Games, which for the first time will be held exclusively in Indiana. For the Pearl Street Pizzeria and Pub, that is music to its ears. This is just one block from Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Kyle Denton is the bartender and the only server working at Pearl Street. He says the news of more hoops in Indy is encouraging after the surge in business they've seen following the limited attendance at Pacer games.
Yeah, definitely the more events there are, we do see a lot more people. We have people calling in for large groups of people, and we can only have so many people in the store.
Well, Denton says that he and other business owners are waiting to hear how many fans, if any, will be allowed at those games. He says that has a huge impact on the amount of supplies that he needs to order. Under current guidelines here in Marion County, sporting events are allowed to have up to 25% capacity.
Former President Trump's historic impeachment trial is now underway in Washington. Ahead this morning, why sources say he's not happy with the defense team. Todd.
And there's a band of snow that is to our south that is lifting to the north, and it will impact us here throughout the morning commute. It's snow right now, but for some of you in southern locations, it turns into a little bit of a freezing rain. We'll break down this band, the precipitation for this morning, and more to come this afternoon, coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast.
Welcome back. This morning, dozens of civil rights organizations are calling for an immediate end of federal executions. Their demands follow an unprecedented number of capital punishments by former President Donald Trump. Now the groups want President Joe Biden to commute the sentences of inmates on death row here in Terre Haute. The ACLU and 81 other groups sent a letter. It says they're asking President Biden to act on a promise of quality, equality, and justice in our criminal legal system. White House officials say they don't have a preview of what the president will do to end federal executions, Lauren.
Megan, history made in Washington this week, marking the first time that a president has faced an impeachment trial after leaving the office. ABC's Andrew Dimbert is on Capitol Hill with what we can expect as the trial moves forward later today.
The Senate chamber under siege a month ago, now a courtroom. Senators reliving the Capitol attack on the first day of former President Donald Trump's second impeachment trial. House impeachment managers using searing images from the January 6th attack to lay claim that Trump incited the deadly insurrection, using his own words to plead their case.
And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Lead Democratic prosecutor Jamie Raskin recounting how his family was with him that day at the Capitol, his emotions weighing heavy as he recalled what his daughter said to him.
She said, "Dad, I don't want to come back to the Capitol."
Day one for this unprecedented trial was meant to focus on the constitutionality of the trial itself, with Democrats arguing Trump can still be impeached even though he's no longer in the Oval Office. But Trump's lead defense attorney, Bruce Castor, spent most of his time on the floor sauntering through arguments that weren't clearly related to those constitutional questions.
United States senators are patriots first. They love their country. They love their families.
Even Republican Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski say they were confused.
I was perplexed by the first attorney who did not seem to make any arguments at all.
And sources tell ABC News Trump was not pleased with the performance of his defense team. Trump's other attorney, David Schoen, getting things back on track, trying to assert since Trump was removed from office by the will of the American voters, Democrats have no case.
For a great many Americans see this process for exactly what it is: a chance by a group of partisan politicians seeking to eliminate Donald Trump from the American political scene.
But after the 4 hours of arguments, senators voting to move ahead with the trial, with 6 Republicans siding with Democrats that the trial is constitutional, even though Trump is no longer president. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Andrew, thank you. This morning, the trading app Robinhood is being sued by the family of a 20-year-old who died by suicide last summer. Alexander Kern's family says he saw a negative balance of $730,000 in his trading account, so he believed he owed that money. Kearns repeatedly tried to reach out to Robinhood representatives and failed. The man didn't know his negative balance would have been erased by settlement options he held. His family accused Robinhood of luring inexperienced investors to take big risks without guidance. We do want to remind you, if you or someone you know is thinking of suicide, there is help available. The National Suicide Lifeline is open 24 hours a day. Its number is 100-273-TALK. They also have a free chat feature online, Lauren.
Well, here at 4:45 this morning, Walgreens and Uber are teaming up to bring COVID-19 vaccines to underserved communities. Uber says transportation should not be a barrier to health care. Over the next few months, the companies will roll out several initiatives, including free rides to Walgreens stores and off-site vaccine clinics. The companies are also working on a new educational program with the National Urban League to address vaccine hesitancy. Let's get a check of our forecast on this Wednesday. It's a Storm Team Alert Day, Todd.
You know, there's not a big storm heading our way, Lauren. That is the good news, but it's going to be one of those days where you'll deal with some precipitation, then it'll end, and then it'll kind of kick back in a little bit later on this afternoon, and depending on where you are, is going to determine what kind of precipitation you see. Now, most of us are going to be dealing with this snow and freezing rain mix in southern locations, but it's going to be mainly snow for everyone else across the area as we have colder air in place in most locations. The question mark is how far north does the warmer air get? And when you're talking about warmer air, you're not talking about warmer air here at the ground level. You're talking about in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And that's what just makes this forecast a little tricky. And you see this first wave of precipitation, and it's not super heavy, making its way north towards Bloomington and Seymour right now. And this will continue to lift to the north as we go throughout the course of the morning commute. And you notice once you get towards the Ohio River, it mixes with some freezing rain. And then eventually it's a lot of freezing rain in Kentucky where they're going to have lots of issues. I wouldn't advise heading south today. That is in your travel plan. So this first band's going to come through, and then we're going to deal with more in the way of wintry weather later on this afternoon. winter weather advisories just south of our area, south of Seymour as you work your way towards Louisville, and then south of Bedford here as you work your way into Orange County. That's where we're dealing with those winter weather advisories. That's where the icing could be a little more significant. So let me go over to TrueCast. I'm going to show you two models. To be honest with you, the computer models with all these weather systems we've been dealing with the last week have not been good. So it's kind of a issue for me to pick which one's handling which system the best. Now, I think this computer model is handling the potential for the mixed precipitation a little bit better here this morning. And you notice it doesn't make it much further north of Greensburg and Bloomington. So north of that line, it's going to be just mainly snow as we work our way throughout the day. But you see it's very unorganized. It's just some bands of snow here or there. So that's good with the roads, right? You don't get this big, huge push of snow at once. The roads get covered with a couple inches. It's just going to kind of be off and on. Now, this computer model, I think, handles the snow better later on this afternoon. And it's going to be a band of snow, very similar to the other morning when we got that heavy snow to the south. It looks like that band's going to set up somewhere just north of Indianapolis throughout the course of the evening hours and then eventually into the overnight hours. And that's when the bulk of the accumulating snow is going to take place. So I think within that band, about 1 to 3 inches will be a possibility. It's an inch or less with some icing here this morning as you work your way into southern locations. So it's kind of a two-pronged system here throughout the day today. Outside right now, visibility not an issue. It's cold. 20 degrees in the city. 7 is what it feels like. All across the area, temperatures are in the teens and 20s. Here's a look at your 7-day planning forecast, and it's dominated by cold air and the potential for other systems. Saturday, some light snow. Then the bitter cold air comes in as we work our way into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. As we get into next week, the weather pattern changes a little bit, Lauren, and that storm system next week could be a little more significant.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now. We're still monitoring a traffic hazard blocking the left lanes of traffic as you're traveling southbound on I-65 here at the 465 interchange. You can see the flashing lights there behind that sign, and so keep out of the left lane, stay to the right, and traffic is moving along just fine past that area. It's not causing any delays or slowdowns for your commute. So let's take a look right now at I-70. This is out near State Road 39. Looks like we have some road construction in that area. Traffic is still getting by, at least in one lane. We'll continue to keep you updated on any other issues that could slow down your commute this Wednesday. Here at 450, though, a Super Bowl champion is joining the Indiana University football staff. IU formally introducing Dylan McCullough as associate head coach. He joins the Hoosiers after 3 years with the Kansas City Chiefs. This is McCullough's second stint with Indiana. He served as a running backs coach from 2011 to 2016.
Everything just fit for me, just Coach Allen, the program, the direction that it's headed in. And I just said, man, I just felt it in my spirit that I wanted to be part of the next step that IU football takes.
It's a great fit, because I knew him, I've coached with him. Football part aside, I mean, that to me is a given. He's obviously a great football coach. But me, I'm big on it's the fit with the whole staff. And that's what I care about. And that's what I knew because I've been with him.
During McCullough's tenure as IU's running backs coach, the Hoosiers set 19 program rushing records.
Meanwhile, the Indiana men's basketball team is looking to keep winning. They travel to Evanston tonight to play Northwestern. The Hoosiers are coming off a big win on Sunday over Iowa. Regardless of the outcome of tonight's game, the Hoosiers have one thing to look forward to: the Big Ten tournament being played in their backyard. It's something Archie Miller says is a smart move by league officials.
Well, the move to Lucas Oil is, a really smart move. I just don't think that the tournament would have been able to survive in Chicago with the hotel situations, the protocols with the virus, and just being able to execute a week-long thing with that many people involved. So to be able to move it is probably a real sign that the tournament is not only a go, but it's going to be successful.
Tonight's game at Northwestern is scheduled for 6:30 Eastern Time. Coming up, a sea creature like you've never seen before. What experts say makes this lobster look more like a yellow submarine. We'll be right back with that story after this break. Welcome back. Pondering a house renovation? Well, we have some colorful news for you. Behr Paint just announced its color of the year. Let us introduce you to Canyon Dusk. You can see it's an earthy terracotta shade. The landscape-inspired hue is part of Behr's Color Trends 2021 palette. In conjunction with its color of the year announcement, Behr is asking people to share where they find the color in their daily lives. Lauren.
All right. Well, you've probably seen a red lobster, maybe even a blue lobster, but the University of New England is introducing all of us to a yellow lobster. Meet Banana, the lobster. The yellow color comes from a pigment in its shell. According to the Lobster Institute at the University of Maine, experts say the odds of catching one are about 1 in 30 million. Officials have no plans of buttering up this beauty. The university will be housing the lobster as they work on a lobster research project. So his yellow color got him out of this one, Todd.
He's not staring down that boiling pot of water.
Right.
So
he's like,
he's one happy lobster, I'll tell you that
Lucky
much.
yellow.
All right, outside right now, it's quiet currently, but there's a band of snow that's starting to lift into southern portions of the area that will put down a quick coating. It may mix with a little bit of freezing rain. As you can see, the freezing rain currently is in Kentucky, but it's not out of the question. There could be a few slick spots, and then another wave of precipitation heads our way as we work our way into this afternoon, and that's when most of us will potentially get some accumulating snow. Outside of that, the other thing you'll notice, the very cold air that comes in over the weekend. Only 10 degrees on Sunday. We're below zero Sunday morning, so a very cold Valentine's Day. And then as we head into next week, potentially a larger storm system could head our way. More on everything you see here in your 7-day planning forecast and your latest news headlines coming up when Raphael joins the ladies and myself at 5 o'clock.